Well, good morning. I still recognize you. It's good to see you all again. Happy Halloween. Let us meditate together. Let all that is, and all that was, and all that may ever be present now, and let me now be present. So may it be. There is a common misconception that is often leveled against people who have the temerity to insist on having their own needs met by society, or perhaps insist on the validity of their own existence. And it's a phrase I've never particularly liked, and it's not something I think that I've ever heard myself say, of course, but I can remember being chastised as a little boy by some well-meaning elder wagging their finger at me and asking rhetorically, "Do you think that you're the center of the universe?" Well, do you? Of course, what they mean to say is, maybe you're being selfish. Or perhaps, if they had the art of language, begin in empathy and decenter your individualism. It's kind of a strange thing because we oftentimes also tell children the opposite. We also tell them how important they are to stick up for themselves. And to be clear, they are, and they ought to. But there's a valid scientific response to all this business of, do you think you're the center of the universe? There's a very valid scientific response to that question, the center of the universe. Because the universe is, it's a funny thing. I used to joke about the universe. Be careful with that. I used to say, I love the universe, I'd say. It's where I keep all my stuff. And then I started to work with psychedelic medicines. And I mean really work with them. And now I'm not so sure about that anymore. But I can say that we often accuse the universe of being many things that it is not. We say the universe is huge. They say, well, compared to what? That's like saying life is short. No, life is the longest thing that you will ever do. Or else we'll say things like, we're in the universe, man. No, technically we are the universe. We're not in anything. The ocean is water, great vast quantities of it. Likewise, I think when people call me on their cell phones to apologize for being late to an appointment, sometimes they'll say to me, I'm terribly sorry, I'm driving on the highway and I'm stuck in traffic. And I think to myself, no, you're not. You are traffic. So we are not in the universe. We were not deposited into this place. We're not goldfish lovingly placed into an aquarium by a benevolent outsider. We are. Everything we are is entirely of this place. And so when you look into a mirror, you are simply and fundamentally the universe observing itself. And likewise, your brain, independent as it may seem, is in no real sense separate from the rest of this stuff. The stones beneath your feet and the air within your lungs and the hydrogen exploding in the hearts of 1 trillion stars. Split a piece of wood, and I am there. Lift a stone, and you will find me. But it doesn't really feel that way. It doesn't really feel like it. Because your brain says so. Your brain says so. Your brain tells you all sorts of things. We have a word for that. That word is ego. Now, to be honest, your brain does a great deal more than just tell you who you are, frankly. You suppose you have a self-concept of yourself, and that's in your brain. But you're doing a hell of a lot more than that. Your brain has got a hypothalamus in it. It's regulating your body temperature and telling your hair to grow. It's keeping your kidneys running right now. And that's a good thing, because I have no earthly idea how to run a set of kidneys. If I was suddenly responsible for operating my own kidneys, I'd be toast. You do all sorts of things like that. You're doing it right now. You have no idea. Explain to me how you walk across the room. How are you doing that? Some of you are making your eyes the most captivating shades of colors. You don't know how you're doing that. And you've got a medulla oblongata in there too somewhere. I don't remember where, but it's in there. It's got your heart beating and your lungs breathing. So thank you, brain. That brain. And the brain, it named everything. Divided it all into different categories. To the best of my knowledge, I think that the brain is probably the only thing that's ever named itself. That's the part of the brain that makes the ego. That's the frontal lobe. That little masterpiece, it's got most of us utterly convinced that we're all completely separate and distinct entities. And it's telling us that we're alone and that we aren't, in fact, the center of the universe. Because the truth of the matter is that you are. The universe isn't a fish tank filled with rocks and plants and little critters. It is a great expanding wave of energy. It kicked off about 15 billion years ago, and it's been going off and expanding ever since, expanding and expanding and expanding. But from where, right? From where? Whose kid hasn't asked them that? Where did it actually begin? At what place in space did it start from? And what's it expanding into? Or if I stand in a field and throw a baseball as far as I can and someone catches it, well, they say, aha, this baseball came from that direction at such and such a speed and velocity at such and such. Therefore, it was thrown from right over there where that minister is standing. But the universe isn't a field, and you aren't a baseball. If you wind the clock back on the universe, beginning with right now, at this very moment, and you wind the clock back and back and back, all the way back, all those billions of years of expansion back on the universe, now going in reverse, instead of expanding, it's contracting and contracting and contracting. And you watch from right there in your seat in the sanctuary at Fountain Street Church, it's going faster, it contracts back down to a single infinitesimal point in space. Do you know where that space is going to be physically located? Will be the exact and precise center of where you are sitting right now, at this very moment. So, beloved, the great and secret truth is this: you are, in fact, the center of the universe. I bet it doesn't feel like it. Right? I don't feel like a whole universe. I'm just some little guy. An ego. It's got me all worked up about what? What's the ego got you going on about? And I guess all I can do is speak a bit from my own. And so maybe let's do it this way. I'll be my ego. Maybe that's all I can be. And I'll let the center of the universe respond. Let us invoke Janus, yeah? The god of doorways. Let us invoke Janus to open up a liminal space, a dialogue between the two residents of my location, my ego and the universe. And imagine, if you will, two cities occupying the same precise location on a map. Two cities in the same geographic location, but planned in such a way as their streets never intersect with each other and their buildings face opposite directions. And so the cities will be on top of each other and interweaved, and the citizens of these cities will speak different languages and follow different customs, and they'll never interact with each other, and they'll never even have occasion to see one another. And then let's ask Janus to open up a terminal between the two. And maybe Nathan can speak to the center of the universe. Maybe Nathan can speak to something else that's thankfully quite nearby. And I want to know, for example, why I am so deeply concerned about the future. I can't stop thinking about it. It keeps me up at night. The future. The future. Why am I so restless about the future? If you are. I think I might not be alone here. We'll do our best and see what we can figure out together, yeah? Yeah, that's good. I like that. Janice, why am I so restless about the future? Hello, Nathan. I know you're afraid of the future. Your brain was made to be that way. Over the course of countless generations of evolution, you're still on the savannah. You're hunting for patterns and predictions. Nathan, you spend all of your time thinking about the future. You spend so much so that when you finally get there, you can't enjoy it, can you? Because you're too busy thinking about the future. So you're always captivated by a place that you'll never reach, a destination that you'll never see. Nathan, do you even remember the time when you were obsessing over this very moment? Well, and now you're here. You've arrived, and you don't even realize it because you're too busy worrying about the future. Well, shouldn't I be? I mean, I've got a lot of responsibilities. I'm afraid. Go ahead and tell me what you're afraid of. I'm afraid that the people who are there won't love me. You have no idea how much you're loved. You couldn't even begin to imagine it if, well, I saw you. There was once upon a time, and I saw you when you were born. I was there. I watched as you were lovingly handed from person to person, and each of them were holding you like a precious miracle. You don't remember that. You know, you grew, and you made people laugh and think, and you even made people fall in love. Well, you didn't know it at the time. And every single day, someone looks at you with love, and people think about you. You live in the memories of thousands of people in the light of love. So if all you were worried about was love, congratulations. You're just fine. What are you really worried about? I suppose that if I'm worried about that, maybe I'm worried about the future for my kids. I want to be certain about a few things for them. I want the future to be a certain way for them because I love them, and I don't want them to suffer. And so I'm worried that they won't have everything that they need. And I'm scared that they will experience pain, and sometimes I can't stop thinking about it. Oh, that's good. That's actually very sweet. And that's because you are trying to be a good parent. And a good parent doesn't want their children to suffer. And so then I expected the same from your parents, and they felt the same way, as did their parents before them. You have empathy and compassion for the people who will come after you, just the same as the people did who came before you. So you see, this is how they also loved you before you were even born. And yet, you suffered. That's not fair. Life isn't fair. And life isn't unfair. Life simply is. Life is a function of this universe in the same manner in which an apple is a function of an apple tree. This universe here, owing to things that you don't understand, gives rise to life. And this world, it peoples. This is life. It's inseparable from the universe itself. And for reasons that you don't understand, it includes suffering. And you cannot change this by worrying. You can't change anything, in fact, because you are everything. What am I supposed to do then? Nothing. Well, everything. Just do what you feel you need to do. You're already doing it. You are exactly what you're supposed to be. Because if the universe was supposed to be any different than it is, it would be that way. But if you need something to keep yourself busy, I suppose you could focus on doing the same thing that you've forgotten that so many other people are doing for you. You're talking about love again, right? Yeah. I should just focus on love. I feel like we've had this conversation before. You're talking about mudita. My practice is taking joy and pleasure in another person's good fortune. I suppose if I do that, then I can make love the matter that is at the heart, at the center of the universe, right? That seems to be the same conclusion that most of your mystics arrive at, yeah. If you make love your preoccupation, and you make love your vocation, then you can give your ego something useful to focus on, yeah. So that's really it then? That's all you need is love? Da, 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 da. It feels like there should be more to it. Is there something else you'd like to know? Yes! Hell yes! What happens when I die? Nothing. Everything. Same as before you were born. That's a lousy answer. That's the only answer. There's only one universe, and it's everything there is. You're it, baby. So now you're a father of 3. Elsewhere, you're a mother of 1, and you're a child living in the Baltics in the year 650. Then you're a Buddhist monk in Nepal. That's a good one. You're also the king of an empire. That's a bad one. You're a slave and a peasant, and you're an astronaut, and you're a little baby. And you're a 33-year-old Palestinian rabbi hanging on a Roman cross. You're a billion other things, you know? You're it. So like reincarnation? I don't want that. That's horrible. There's so much suffering. I don't want to go through all of that. What about the terrible things that I've done to other people? Is that self-harm? You know, you once said, love your neighbor as yourself. I thought that was a metaphor. Yeah, I get that a lot. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'd like to return to non-existence again. Wait! Wait, one more question. Is there a God? Why is that so important to you? I just want to know if I'm everyone, and if I have to be everyone, and if this identity is just a distraction or a performance, if I'm just a hallucination of the universe looking into a mirror, I suppose I want to know whether or not this entire dream is dreamt alone, or if there will be someone else there when I do finally wake up. I don't want to wake up alone. Now that is a very beautiful question. I like that. I like that a lot. And I can't answer that question for you right now. Why not? I don't want to ruin the surprise. Now you'll have to excuse me because I'm not really here. But don't worry, you still are. Happy Halloween. Well, thank you, Janice. So captivated we are by the realm of the future that appears to spread out before us that we choose to dwell there instead of relishing having finally arrived in the place that we spent all that time dreaming about getting to. And so preoccupied we are by the suffering that we want to prevent from happening that we fail to act upon the real and immediate pain that is directly in front of us. And so addicted are we to our own self-concept that we fail to see the cosmic communion of everything and everyone that we meet. And so desperate is our ego that the most precious thing we can imagine is holding on to it after we die. If the veil is thinning, let it thin. Split a piece of wood, and it is there. Lift a stone, and you'll find it. And turn, and behold, the universe is within you. And it is you. And then let it be love. And be here now. There's no future waiting for you. There is only this very moment. And so don't be afraid of the dark out there. And happy Halloween.